Hello guys, and welcome to the next tutorial where we're gonna talk about equality operators. Okay, and in the previous tutorial we talked about the if statements and the fact that whatever we put in the if statements have to evaluate to true or false or the Boolean expression in simple words. Okay, so let's take a look at what else we can put or how we can express our if statements in a more useful way. Okay, so let's create two variables. So let's do int x and int y, and then let's make an if statement. And so we know what that is, we've seen it before, and we put those parentheses like this. Okay, so now that we have it set it up, in this tutorial we're gonna talk about equality operators, and these are basically when we compare if both things are equal or not equal. Okay, so the way to do it is we're gonna assign values to them. So we're gonna say x equals 5, and then we're gonna say x equals 6. Okay, just for purpose of our explanation. Okay, so here what we're gonna do is we're gonna test if x is equal to y, and then we're gonna execute something here, and we're gonna say that this is gonna be, let's say we're just gonna say true, and then this is basically, it's gonna tell us if we print this out, it's gonna let us know that it's true. Okay, now in here the way we're gonna compare this, if we're gonna say x, and you know how before we did like this, x, you would think that you can do like this, x equal y, but in this situation you can't. This is when we do assignment. So 1 equals is an assignment operator. Basically assigns right here, we use it this way, we take 5 and we assign it to x. So this becomes an assignment operator. When we want to compare, we do also want to say if x is equal to y, but in the computer language to do that we need to put two of them in a row like this. Okay, so I'm sure you've seen this before, and this is basically what it means. We're comparing this, we're not assigning this, we're taking two different values, one from left side and one from right, and we evaluate them and compare them, see if they are equal. Okay, and this is why before I was telling you that this is gonna evaluate to a Boolean expression. So if x is equal to y, it's gonna be true. If x is not equal, then it's gonna be false in there. Okay, the way if you wanna well, let's just run this for now. Okay, so let's run this and see if it works. Well, 5 is obviously not equal to 6, so it should not do anything. So we should see nothing here, and we don't, because we have nothing else outside this code. Okay, now with the way to do it, we can also compare this if they're not equal to each other. And the way to do that, instead of two equals in a row, we can put that right there in the front. Okay, and this explanation point basically tells us that it's not equal. Basically that's how Visual Studio or C# converts this. Okay, it's basically saying if x not equal to y, do this. Okay, and so right now that since they're not equal, it should tell this if statement that it's true, and we should see the true printed in there. Okay, so let's run, and indeed we see the true in here. Okay, so another thing that I want to put on before we move on is to do this, you know how in the previous example we used the Boolean. So let me use this example from before to make sure that we understand. Okay, you know how in the last example we used this rain and we put that in there, it says if rain, and I want to just point it out because a lot of times you will see people do this, and I want to just point it out so you guys don't do that. Okay, so you sometimes, a lot of times in your program, when you creating logic, you want to say stuff like this: if rain is equal to true. Okay, And you will see people do this, but I just want to let you know that this is the kind of like an amateur way to do it. And a lot of times it will help you to set up your logic in your head correctly, but get away from using this. You do not want to use that. You just want to basically say if it rains. Okay, you don't want to say it if rain equals to true. If you do want to say if it's rain is not equal to true, like this, then basically what you can do, and I did not show you this before, basically if you want to say if it's not raining, okay, and the way to do that, you can just basically put this negation in front of that. And basically what it's saying is here, if it's not raining, okay, if it's not rain, okay, so if it's, this is true right now, so it's gonna say if it's not true. Okay, let's see if it's gonna run, and it definitely does not print. Okay, and this is what we're expecting because it's not raining. Basically, it would only be true if this is false. Okay, so if it's not raining, then it would be true. Okay, so it's kind of mouthful here, obviously, but yeah, I'm sure you can kind of understand. If I change this to false, now this is gonna evaluate to true right here because it's gonna say if it's not raining, which is false. Okay, so I just wanted to show you this little trick like that, to use it when you are setting up your if statements. Okay, and so you don't use this not equal when you don't have to. You can just negate this, or if you just want to evaluate the boolean, you don't need to say boolean expression equal to something. Okay, but if you're doing to the integer or anything else, if you're comparing, you have to use those double equal and not equal sign to compare it. But if you're comparing the booleans, boolean like that to true or false, then you can just use the variable itself. Okay, and this is it for the equality operators. In the next tutorial, we're going to talk about other operators that will help us set up the if statements. Okay, and see you in next tutorial.